Thanks for coming this evening to West Rockhill Board of Supervisors, December 18th meeting. If you all join me in place of flag.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any public comments on the agenda items as listed? Yes, Mr. Cullen.
David Cron, 14 Barn Road. First of all, on a personal note, it's good to see you up and about town. Looking at the agenda, I see a vote for adoption of the 2020 budget is planned for this evening. Although the budget has been advertised for public review, there's been no opportunity for public comment. Since the public comment section of the agenda occurs after the budget adoption vote, I request on behalf of the taxpayers in attendance this evening that there be time allotted for public comment on the proposed budget before a vote is taken. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments? Mr. Baldwin?
We have, I think, should we wait?
Wait a second.
Okay, I'm sorry. No comment, Mr. Chairman, no comment.
Mr. Volodnik's here tonight
Always
to
disrupting.
confirm that the roads are terrible in East Rockhill
Yes,
Township.
it is. For some reason, it's bad over there.
Anyway, there are several announcements which Jay is going to handle those announcements.
I'm sorry.
Okay. The first on the announcements is that we will be holding an executive session for legal to follow tonight's meeting. And the second one is to recognize Donald D. Duvall for 18 years of service to West Rockhill Township as supervisor. The board has put together a resolution of West Rockhill Township recognizing and honoring Supervisor Donald Duvall for his years of service. Don, this is a plaque that we have put together for you.
Thank you very much.
And I will read this as a resolution of West Rockhill Township Board of Supervisors recognizing and honoring Supervisor Donald D. Duvall, whereas the welfare and strength of the community depends on the dedication, commitment, and efforts of not only its residents and its employees, but upon its leadership as well. And whereas it is the intent of the Board of Supervisors of West Rockhill Township to acknowledge and give special recognition to those who serve this community. And whereas Mr. Duvall has tirelessly dedicated 18 years of service as a member of the West Rockhill Township Board of Supervisors. And whereas Mr. Duvall was instrumental in the completion and adoption of the West Rockhill Township Comprehensive Plan and the update of the West Rockhill Township zoning ordinance. And whereas Mr. Duvall has diligently served on the Pennridge Regional Police Commission and was actively involved in its formation, and has also served as past president of the Bucks County Association of Townships Officials. Now therefore it be resolved that the West Rockhill Township Board of Supervisors does hereby recognize, acknowledge, and extend its heartfelt appreciation to Donald Duvall for his many contributions to West Rockhill Township and its residents over the years, and offers best wishes for continued success in all future endeavors. Thank you for your service, Don. Presented the 18th day of December 2019.
Thank you very much.
I want to say it has been a pleasure working with Don. As many of you know, Don and I have not always seen eye to eye on issues, but that is what you want as taxpayers. Individual ideas to bring a better community to this township. And I will say I have learned some things over the years from Don, and I have been very grateful for the time that I have been able to work with him.
Thank you very
So
much.
thank you.
I learned from you too, Jay.
Thank you.
Even though we didn't do it.
I also have something else. This is Certificate of Achievement presented to Donald Duvall, West Rockhill Township Supervisor, elected official from January 1st, 2002 to December 31st, 2019. He was instrumental in getting the comprehensive plan adopted, new zoning, and subdivision regulations adopted. This is from Craig Stats, State Representative, 145th District. And I will say, for the comprehensive plan the first time around, I spent many years with Don on that every month. I think it was about 5 years it took us to do that.
5 years.
Yeah.
First one, yeah.
So that's for
Thank you
you.
very much.
You're welcome. And I have one more thing we have to go through here. This is certificate of service hereby presented to Donald D. Duvall, West Rockhill Township, Bucks County, in recognition of your 18 years of service as a township supervisor. We thank you for your selfish dedication to your community and local government, and your leadership, commitment, and passion, I should say, for serving your fellow citizens. Presented by the Pennsylvania State Association of Township Supervisors, December 2019. Thank you, Don.
Thank you, Jay.
You're welcome. All right, I also have some of the East Rock Hill supervisors here that would like to say a few things, I believe. Mr. Lovnik, would you like to?
Sure.
Mr. Nyman and Mr. Natupsky.
Thank you, John. The Board of Supervisors East Rock Hill has worked with West Rock Hill for many, many years, and we're here this evening to present a resolution to Don Duvall, a resolution number 2019-08, in resolution of the Board of Supervisors East Rock Hill Township, Bucks County, Pennsylvania, recognizing and commending Don Duvall. Whereas Don Duvall has served on the West Rock Hill Township Board of Supervisors faithfully for 18 years. Whereas Don Duvall has made sincere efforts to promote intermunicipal cooperation with East Rock Hill Township. And whereas the East Rock Hill Township appreciates the efforts of Don Duvall to secure compromises in areas of non-agreement. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Supervisors of East Rock Hill Township, Bucks County, Pennsylvania, that Don Duvall be commended and congratulated for his service to the East Rock Hill Township community. Resolved at a duly convened meeting of the Board of Supervisors of East Rock Hill Township conducted the 26th day of November 2019. Don, I want to present this to you on behalf of the board and its community, its residents, and we thank you for everything you've done.
And I would just like to add, I know it's been alluded to in a couple of the other acknowledgments, but having worked with you both at the county and state level, both on the executive board for Picado, Bucks County Association of Township Officials, and your service to PSATS, Pennsylvania State Association of Township Supervisors, I want to thank you and acknowledge your service for that. Thank you, Don. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Same thing, Don. You've been almost a mentor to me, my 10-year service at East Rock Hill, working on the police building together, and lightning. Appreciate all your service and the help you've given me personally. You'll do well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, with that concluded, I will, yes. Yep. Mr. Mark Horn from Grandview Hospital, I guess would like to say.
Oh, sorry. I'd just like to say, Don, thanks for all the hard work you've done on behalf of Grandview and the township. And we see Don a lot at the hospital. His wife's one of our auxiliaries, and it's always been a pleasure. He's been gracious to me in my time in the township, and congratulations, well done.
Thank you very much, Mark.
Thank you. Okay, with that, I will turn the meeting back over to Mr. Duvall.
Thank you, Jay, and thank you, everybody who was involved with thoughts and processes and what just occurred. Very much appreciated. It was a great 18 years. Okay, the next item on the meeting agenda is a consent agenda. Gentlemen, you have in front of you the consent agenda. Do any of you have any questions or any items that you wish to discuss before we submit this for approval?
I have no questions or items. I'll make a motion. Yes.
I'll second it.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second for approval of the consent agenda. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. We have no confirmed appointments tonight. So the next item is committee reports. Planning Commission, Chris Thurston.
Evening.
Hi, Craig.
All right.
Planning Commission met last Tuesday. We had one applicant, it was Grandview Hospital. They came in with a sketch plan for a 141,000 square foot addition to the hospital. The addition would be in the area of the front parking lot and the professional building, which I always call the nurses' building. The nurses' building, the professional building would be raised, building to match the height of the existing hospital. They would be relocating the main entrance, relocating the ER, and raising the ER's classification. They'd be looking to move some of the beds over into that building. Apparently, some of the beds in the hospital are in the original hospital building, and they're not very large, so they're looking for some more larger rooms for the hospital bedding. That, and they're not sure what they're going to do with the rest of the space, but that was some of the things that they had presented to us. The handful of little issues, one of them being parking. There's a couple of those will get resolved. One of which, they want to do reserve parking, so we'll have to find some space to just have as reserve, as we've done in the past. So we don't have any problem with that. One of the bigger things, back in 2009, there was the improvement concept plan for Lawn Avenue. So this being on Lawn Avenue would fall under that plan. The plan calls for center lane when properties are developed along Lawn Avenue. And Steve, if you want to jump in and correct me anytime, that would be great, because it gets a little confusing. They're proposing to just do widening at their entrance, do a turn lane at their entrance, not the whole front of the property. It doesn't coincide with the concept plan, but it doesn't seem to be needed for the whole frontage. We are asking them to, instead of a full-blown traffic plan, to deal with the issues that we're having at Lawn and 309 and Lawn and Ridge. So they were very agreeable to take a look at all that and see what they can figure out to alleviate the issues up there. So they're also going to come back with, this is all sketch, so they're going to come back with projected employee count, number of cars coming in and out and whatnot. So once we have that and the traffic study, we'll be able to better look at the situation at the entrance. So we will revisit when they come back in with all that, and that's pretty much what we had with the hospital. And if I left anything out important, please jump in.
Not particularly. I would just add that, as you're all aware, Lawn Avenue is a state road. So anything that we do require there, we have to coordinate with PennDOT. They are seeking to have they refer to it as a scoping meeting, but an initial meeting with PennDOT to talk about those improvements, what the township is looking for, what PennDOT would be looking for, and how could we come to an agreement between the three parties. But I think Chris was right. The Planning Commission acknowledged that there's a significant issue at the traffic signals at the ramps. And if we could get some work done there, in lieu of maybe some of the widening on the front of the property, that could be a good trade-off for the township to alleviate that ongoing traffic problem with that.
I think that's a key to the whole project, is solving the traffic problem there. Because you deal with 309, 563 Lawn Avenue, tens of thousands of cars every day.
Yes, it's a complicated issue.
It is very complicated.
Even if they can't do all of the work, they could at least have a plan together, a long-range plan for what improvements have to be done. We can decide how much the hospital does and how much another development does.
It seems like, Ridge Road is state road, Lawn Avenue is state road, 309 is state road. So I think there's a lot of weight on, should be a lot of weight on PennDOT to do something. But they have.
Should be, but
Big word?
I said should be is the key word. We don't always.
I think we have to press the issue.
I would agree.
My suggestion. Commissioners, any questions?
So that's what we have with Grandview. So they'll be back in, I'm sure. Next item we had was the issue of our absentee planning commission member. You all know the situation. Due to a health setback, we've been without a fifth member for probably a year and a half now. And it's time to make a move here to get somebody back on the planning commission that can sit in the meetings. One of the solutions we came up with was adding an alternate member and putting that member into place immediately, leaving Ben as a member, still just stays on disability. Putting an alternate in immediately until Ben is ready to come back, if he ever is going to be ready to come back. One of the drawbacks to that, as we found out, is there might be some limits to the capacities that an alternate member can have while sitting on planning commission. So that's something that we need to talk to Mary about. Do you have any input there?
Yeah, Greg told me about that maybe a month or two ago, and you can have an alternate member, but that alternate member, I believe, can only vote if there is a quorum available to vote. And we wondered if that would be practical for you or not.
Right. That's a good question, yeah. So they can only vote if it's needed for a quorum?
Right.
Okay. So we can still have a
But
two-way
doesn't,
tie?
right, well, I think in practicality, you're an advisory body.
Right, exactly.
So if you said we had a 2-2 tie and the alternate member would have voted this way, that gives the board all the information it
Right.
needs.
Understood.
Is there another option with the alternate and permanent member?
Well, I mean, we can go a couple different ways. Honestly, this is the most compassionate way of dealing with it. Another option would be to make Ben an alternate and bring in a new member. By doing that, we eliminate whatever problems we would have with having an alternate sitting in. Either way, Planning Commission is on board with having an alternate for down the road, if we ever run into this situation again down the road.
It's a good objective.
Yeah, alternate would be copied on everything, all correspondence that Planning Commission would be getting. So basically, we'd have someone in training, someone that would be able to come in the event that somebody resigns or moves out of the area, whatever. So the alternate member is something that we would like to push for. The status of that alternate member is something that we need to have further
So
discussion on.
that's more discussion there.
Yeah, and Chris, as I mentioned in the meeting, I'm more in favor of filling the permanent position. And then I'm not against an alternate, but I'm more in favor of filling the permanent position. And if you want to move Ben into another position, I don't have a problem with that because the alternate would rarely be used, if ever.
Right.
But we've
No,
got to get the permanent position filled. And it could be another year and a half or 2 years. So let's
Can't
face
afford that.
the truth, right? So I think after a year and a half, I think that's the direction we should be taking.
Well, it's actually more than a year and a half.
Yeah.
So, that decision would be on you guys. Planning Commission, the original plan was what we had talked about. As I said, it's more of a compassionate solution than to put him as an alternate or asking him to resign. But we would certainly, it's such a touchy subject. If you guys want to make a decision on that to go the other way, we're fine with that. But somebody's going to have to talk to Ben about this as well.
Yeah.
Right.
So is the planning commission's recommendation to fill the full time now?
I would say
And
we want to. The recommendation is we need to put somebody in that seat.
we'll agree on that.
We'll leave it to you as to if you want to appoint a new member or appoint an alternate. If you want to appoint a new member, I think we're all fine with that. So I guess number one, we'd ask you to start advertising for the position. And secondly, we would be asking for a policy change to bring in an alternate into the schedule. If that makes sense to
You
you.
define when they are,
Yeah, I mean, there's gonna be a lot of little definition stuff that we need to
seems like
clear
I
up.
heard you say that you feel we should go the permanent route.
I do, I just think it's a more stable situation to have a permanent person in that position.
It's been too many years the way it is, it's
Yeah,
not good.
yeah.
So I would propose that we go that route and figure out how to deal with the personalities, et cetera.
Okay.
And that will be challenging, no question about that.
Right. I can't imagine planning commission's gonna have a problem with that.
Chris, do you want to, I'm sorry, do you want to take this back to the planning commission?
I don't think I
Talk
need
them?
to. In brief discussions after the meeting,
Okay.
one at a time. After you had brought that up, we started thinking about it. So I don't think I need to take this back to the planning commission.
Well, I would make a motion to fill the position and make part of that motion to go ahead and advertise for it.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Do you have any comment, Jay, or?
No, I think, I respect Ben and all, but I understand, health is health, and I know that we've discussed probably a year ago about, having to make at least 75% of the meetings when you're on a committee. And, of course, we need somebody there full-time. So I'm okay with the path that you want to take.
Good, thanks.
Okay.
So,
All right.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's in your hands, Mr. Thurston.
Well,
Now, Chris, one more thing then about the alternate. Do we want to push that forward tonight, or do you have more talking to do with Mary? Do you have other things you need to discuss before we do that?
well, I think you're gonna have to set up some ground rules.
Criteria.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we'll do that in January.
Yeah, I don't think there's a big rush to do that.
Okay,
More importantly is to get the seat filled.
yes.
But yeah, the criteria that's gonna be involved with the alternate, when
Okay.
they sit in, what happens if somebody resigns, does the alternate go in automatically, or is it still an appointment? All that background stuff's gotta be cleared up.
And that's not a new concept. I mean, we have alternates from the zoning hearing board, and
They jump right
they
in.
get plugged in at any and every meeting,
Right.
because they're not always available, and that's why we have 2 or 3 alternates. And so it's not a new concept, and that's I believe, Mary, a quasi legal board.
The zoning hearing board,
Yeah.
yeah, there's different provisions for alternate members on the zoning hearing board, but it's the same concept. They're really actually only supposed to vote if there's not a quorum.
Right. So my view is, you guys ought to proceed and work with Mary and Greg in terms of putting the wording down on how you're gonna deal with and handle the alternative.
Right.
And other than that, I think you need to move forward with it too long without a full court.
No, I agree. That's why I'm up here.
It's a big step forward.
Yeah, hopefully. So that is all we had. I don't, is any more discussion needed about filling this
I
position?
don't think so. That all's back in your court.
Thanks.
I'll make a
Well, then I'm
motion
done.
to accept the planning commission report.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
No, that's it.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank
All right,
Chris.
thank you.
You did a good job.
You up next?
Okay, Conservation Committee, Mr. Schreemeyer.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The Conservation Committee is a group of volunteers that help interested landowners preserve their properties through Pennsylvania's open space law. Our goal at West Rockhill is to conserve about 30%, and right now we've got 10,000 of the 10,000 acres. Right now we're about 17%, so we're pretty well more than halfway to our goal. Our last Conservation Committee meeting was held on November 21st. Highlights are open space signs. I've noticed, and I actually have a picture of one The woodpecker's been having a ball with some of our signs, we've got holes in them. So we're gonna try to discuss repairing and replacing these signs with a sign maker. If you do notice a sign that's been either vandalized or has holes, just let the township manager know, and he'll get it to us and we'll take care of it. Sometimes we don't see every sign on that we have up. There's a lot of signs out there right now. Acreage ovals, you may notice there's a little oval on some of the signs that have the number of acres preserved. Not all the signs have it, so we're putting acreage ovals on the remaining signs to just give you an idea of how many acres are preserved on a certain property. So, the catch basin property, my understanding was originally a water source, is it for Sellersville, am I correct on that? And we purchased that property, or the township purchased the property. And $80,000 have been budgeted from the open space funds to demolish buildings. There's a number of old buildings, and there's some, I believe there's settling ponds or something. There's some deep ponds there that are danger, basically. So they're gonna flatten the buildings and fill in all the holes, so it's a much safer place for people to actually go out there and go fishing. And lastly, the preserved property database. We keep a database of all of our preserved properties, and the recent additions include both the catch basin and the McGann property, which already has a conservation easement on a fairly large portion. Our meetings are held on the third Thursday of odd-numbered months at 7 o'clock, so it'll be January and then March and so on. And our next meeting is January 16th, and you're all welcome to attend if you'd like to come and see how we operate. Thank you.
Thank you. Your motion.
I'll make a motion to approve, Mr.
There's a
Chairman.
question?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Don White, Allentown Road.
Yes.
Once there's a conservation easement on a property, is the property still considered private property, or is it open to the public?
You're gonna have to help me there.
It depends on how the conservation easement arose and what the terms of the conservation easement are. Sometimes when we got money from DCNR, there was a requirement as a condition of that grant to allow public access to the property. Sometimes through the county money, when we got conservation easements, there was no such requirement. So every single conservation easement has its own terms. Some of them require public access and some of them don't.
Okay, so what was the Ackerman property? There's no trespassing signs all around that property. Is it still considered private property, or what's the deal with that?
I need to know that. I don't even know that off the top of my head. That was probably 15
I'm so
years ago. It's done. But I'll check and I'll let you know before the end of the meeting.
Okay, very good.
Property is still private property, it's owned by the owner. I don't know if I can add to that. A number of places when we do conserve a property, we ask that they set aside room for a pathway, because we're trying to complete a number of walking trails. So the idea there is then when we do get enough of property strung together, we'll build a walking trail through that area.
Well, that's my concern. That property's down there. It's right beside the Manderfield property.
Yes.
And it's like 90 acres, I believe, and it's all posted. The whole thing's posted. It's not, Ackerman doesn't own it anymore. It's been sold to someone else.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all posted. And when I went down just recently, I'm thinking, I'm not sure that's right. So I don't know.
Yeah, I know the Manderfield has got walking trails, and
Right.
it's actually pretty well used, so
Yes, it
it's a
is.
great place to walk. But
Used to be my private park. And
yeah,
it's
my
not
understanding
private
is not
park.
every one of the properties has the same agreements. They're all different.
My other question is, I'm curious why the Board of Supervisors is not allowing people to use kayaks in the catch basin.
Yeah. Want me to answer? Yeah. Okay. We don't have the catch basin property open to the public yet because of the unsafe conditions, okay? So there's no boating, no kayaking. You shouldn't be on the property at all, really.
Okay.
And there's also a liability issue with our insurance carrier.
That's why we haven't opened it up yet.
You're saying that even when it's opened up, it won't be allowed?
No, I don't think we
I
said
don't-
that.
We didn't say that.
We didn't say that, but as of now, it's not allowed. I can check back after it's opened up, but as of now, it's not allowed.
Okay. I did not realize it wasn't open. I don't believe there's any no trespassing signs on that property.
we don't actively let people know that it's open. We don't publish that it's open.
I guess I get what you're saying.
We don't want it to make it an attractive.
Right. Yes. Okay. Cool. When do you,
Not
after you
yet.
take the buildings down, you anticipate making it a park then?
Correct.
At some point in time, yes.
And that's later on the agenda.
Very good. That's all.
That's a long-term plan. Okay, thank you, Michael.
I'll make a motion, we accept Mr. Schremeier's report as presented.
I'll second it.
Oh,
All right, it's moved to second, all in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Commission reports. Police report, Chief Ron Glenn.
How's everybody doing, Mary?
Good, how are you
Chief,
doing?
how are you?
Careful the roads out there.
Yeah.
Don, I just want to say, on behalf of the police department, I know we're going to talk a little bit about our commission meeting, but I just want to let the West Rockhill residents here know that you've always been supportive of the police department, since you came into the office here in 2002. I've appreciated, our lively debates and, us diving into the pension plan and police contracts and police protection units and use of force policies and all those things. So I really appreciated your attentiveness to those issues and, stopping by the station and just talking and looking at things and making sure everything's done right. So really appreciate that and your leadership. So
Thank you, Ron. That's what you pay me big bucks for.
Yeah. Folks, this is the police report for December. Remember, we're always a month behind on our reporting system because we're still gathering stats for December. So this lists the November activities. The department handled 530 calls for service. Of those calls, 244 were in East Rockhill and 286 were in West Rockhill. The department had 41 traffic crashes, 17 crashes in East Rockhill and 24 in West Rockhill. 24 of those were reportable crashes and 17 were non-reportable crashes. We handled 4 Part 1 crimes and 28 Part 2 crimes. In East Rockhill, the crimes are as follows: sex offense against a minor, assault case, criminal mischief, 3 cases of possession of marijuana, 2 cases of disorderly conduct, 2 cases of harassment, 1 case of intimidating a witness, 1 trespass case, 8 dog law violations, and 2 ordinance violations. In West Rockhill, the crimes are as follows: assault with a weapon, a theft case, 2 fraud cases, 1 possession of marijuana, 1 disorderly conduct, 2 harassment cases, 1 trespass case, and 1 reckless endangerment. And criminal charges filed in November, 1 for reckless endangerment, 4 for disorderly conduct, 1 for public drunkenness, 2 for possession of marijuana, 2 for possession of drug paraphernalia, and 2 for driving under the influence of alcohol and or drugs. And the officers also conducted 229 traffic enforcement details, 16 of those on Old Bethlehem Pike, issuing 14 verbal traffic warnings, 27 citations, and 44 written warnings, and also conducted 313 business checks. I'd just also like to remind everybody, since the weather is turning like this and we have bad roadways and possibly hazardous roadways, if you can't get a hold of anybody here at the township building, let's say it's a weekend, please call the police department. If your road's icy or something's amiss, don't wait till Monday morning and Greg comes into the office and might have 15 calls on the answering service. Just call the police department. And if by some chance during the week you can't get a hold of anybody here, just contact us, and we have direct contact with the road crew, both in East Rockhill, West Rockhill, and PennDOT. So we like to get those reports because then we document that information, so there's a proper flow there, and we can make sure things get done. Thank you.
I have something I want to add to the chief's report. I received some information about Milford Township, and they have a 1-lane bridge like we have, that we have down by our twin churches. You have the pictures here? Oh, it's up there, yeah, okay. We thought PennDOT put a sign up there that said 4 cars at a time to keep traffic moving, and it's a PennDOT looking sign. And I called Milford, and they said, sure, it's PennDOT. And we've had a lot of good information coming back from people saying that the backup isn't there anymore. So this is great. So I told the chief, and the chief checked in today and found out.
It's not a PennDOT sign. And PennDOT's taking that sign down. So, yeah, I think it's a great sign. You know, we have two congested areas on Allentown Road. We have it at Ridge Valley there at the church and Butter Creek Road right there at the one-lane bridge. So it does get congested there. I've seen people approach that and 2 cars go through or 3 cars, and sometimes that works. And I've also been there and seen where it didn't work. People get agitated when 2 cars go through and it's their turn to go through. So yeah, I did contact PennDOT. Believe it or not, they do have a sign division, and they're aware of that sign, and that is not their sign. So.
So unfortunately, that's not going to be a solution for us, but we tried.
Yeah, we did try, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So that's all I had.
Okay, you have any-
Nope, Chief, thanks very much for your report. I'll make a motion, we accept the chief's report as presented.
I'll second.
Moved and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, ayes have it. Thank you, Chief. Next commission report is Short Wreck Authority, Jim.
We passed our budget last month. There was a very short meeting. There were only 4 of us in attendance. There wasn't a whole lot to say. Actually, there were 4 of us in attendance, 3 from Sellersville and myself. So we still have an opening, which I would like to move forward with. And I will once again ask if we can match the $2,000 that was put forth by Sellersville so we could make our budget for this year. The 2 gentlemen will have more and more time to review that.
Well, as I spoke to you last month, I think I've made it public that I'm not willing to add the 2,000. Our intent was to reduce our contribution and move it back to the $10,000 originally. And the Joint Rec Authority is supposed to be using the money that the township gives for capital improvements, not to run the day-to-day operation. Now, I know we've been doing that. And Jim, you have put a lot of time and effort, and you're doing a great job with the pool. However, I don't think that the township should continue to contribute more money towards that. I think that the Joint Rec Authority should be able to find ways to make that work.
Well, first of all, let me just state, I've never seen any documentation anywhere that said this is supposed to be capital improvements only. And I don't think we've ever been able to find any information that says it's capital improvements only. But I understand your position, and I will just continue to come in and ask.
Okay.
So just let it go. I don't have anything else for tonight.
Okay.
I move for approval of the report.
I'll second it.
Moved and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Up here, lady, this time of year, tax collector's report.
Okay, annual tax bills for the month of December, I've collected $3,671.40 in annual taxes, and in interims, only $34.31. I did collect one streetlight tax of $35.61, so all the streetlight taxes have been settled for the 2019 tax year. Do have a week left to collect for taxes. But I do note that we have collected like $1,400 more than that was budgeted, so we're moving in the right direction. Liens will be filed in January for unpaid taxes by December 31st.
Roughly how much do we have unpaid for 2019?
Well, I can't give you the exact number because I have actual collection
Ballpark.
versus, I'd say, probably around 15,000.
Okay. That's for great.
Yeah, it's, face versus when people actually pay. But like I said, we have a week left, and I did send out all final notices for county, township, and school taxes on Tuesday, so.
Any questions, Jim?
I have no questions.
Jim?
No questions.
Entertain a motion for approval of tax collector's
I'll
report.
make a motion.
Okay, I'll second it.
Moved and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, ayes have it. Engineers report, Mr. Bellamy.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you see on your report, on the agenda, the only thing under my report is the potential Act 537 update. If you recall, it wasn't that many years ago that we undertook a complete rewrite of the Act 537 plan, or the sewage facilities plan for the township. But DEP has come back to us, and not only us, several other townships in Bucks County, and I presume all through the district, requesting some updates to the plan, not a total rewrite of the plan. Their primary concern now is proliferation of stream discharge systems and other repairs. We've had several in the township over the past couple of years. I think our main area has been out on Old Bethlehem Pike. And they, our overall plan had a statement in it that said if we do identify pockets of problem areas, that the township would do extra review of those areas to determine if there's a better solution than just installing all of these separate stream discharge systems. So they've come to us and asked for the township to undertake that.
Is that a reasonable request, based on what we're experiencing?
It's reasonable. They have reason to believe that we are having a number of those systems. There has been quite a few systems in the past couple of years, so it did not surprise me at all that they had made this request. Again, I said it's not an overall study for the whole township. It's some mapping and coordination with the health department to figure out where all these repair systems have been. One of the things that we brought up to DEP is the coordination that we have now with the health department isn't that great. We usually get copied sort of after the fact. We find out about repairs after they've been approved already on some of the systems, not all. Some of them need our signatures and our approvals, other ones don't. So from their side, the DEP committed to try to get a better working relationship with the health department so information flows back and forth better and we have a better handle on where these repairs and problems are coming up. So it's something we'll have to work with Greg to try to get our hands around a bit of a budget of what this endeavor will cost us. It should be a little bit easier for West Rockhill Township than some of our other municipalities that are going through this because you have the newer Act 537 plan. You have a sewage management ordinance in place, which is one of the things they're asking all the other municipalities to do is to establish this sewage management ordinance. And that program, I think, has been working fairly well for us for the past couple of years. So we're ahead of the game for some of the other communities that are being asked to do this. But they're asking nicely now. I assume if we don't cooperate, they won't ask nicely. The next time we'll get some order that we have to comply with an update. So I'll continue to work with Greg. I just wanted to make you aware what the issue was, what the scope was, and I'll get together with Greg and try to put some numbers to what it may cost to do this mapping and work.
Is the timing an issue? I mean,
They have not given any deadline. I think they're hoping that through this next year that we actively pursue it and have something to submit to them so we can go back and forth a little bit.
so they have the same information we have?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they want us to give them some initial mapping so they could determine if they want us to do more or not. So there'll be a little back and forth through the process.
You have any more questions, Steve?
No, of course, my biggest question is what kind of numbers are we looking at? You're gonna be working on this.
Yeah, well, we wanted to explain this situation to you first, and we'll come up with an idea.
This isn't another basin program, is it? It's similar to that.
No, this is strictly looking at, getting records on where all the repairs have been over the past couple of years, map where our poor soils are in the township, and identify if any of those areas could be, is there a better way to serve them? Which really is there a way to get public sewer to some of these areas where we have a lot of failures? That's what they're looking for.
Well, we have an area where we need public water right now, and probably wouldn't hurt to put public sewer there as well. And was that area recommended, or we can discuss that?
If you're referring to Bethlehem Pike, yes.
I am.
We had that discussion, and DEP, actually that's one of the items on there, the last item on their memo that I believe is in your packet, that they are going to look into that issue of the existing treatment plants in that area and how we could get public sewer to them.
Steve, there's no answer other than public water or sewer, because they don't know where that flume is going next.
I think Don's referring to Tabor Road.
Correct. That would be a public water issue, and that we're not looking at public water at all.
Okay.
This investigation would solely be about public, or not public sewer, but
Okay.
sewer in general.
Sewer in general.
Another subject.
But we've been through this already.
But we do have, before the water contamination, we've had the sewer issues on
Yes.
Bethlehem Pike.
Yep,
And DEP indicated a willingness to try to,
which is right next to the 3 Mile Run Creek.
we have several options
Yep,
to sewer, it's just none of them have been able to move forward.
okay. Thank you for your update.
That's all I have unless there's any questions.
Okay. Any further questions? If not, I'll entertain a
I'll
motion.
make a motion, we accept Steve's report.
I'll second.
Moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Steve. Solicitor's report.
Hi.
Beverly.
Thank you. At the last meeting, you reviewed the plan of the Teresco. And we have prepared a resolution in accordance with the board's direction at that meeting. It's been in your packet. The applicant has sent an email indicating that they accept the conditions. So if you are inclined to approve the resolution, it would take a motion to approve resolution 2019-20.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution
21, sorry.
21,
Oh, I'm sorry.
2019.
I'll second that motion.
Barry, I have a question.
You can go.
Am I in a position to sign this?
Yes.
Okay. I wasn't here when this was put in motion.
You weren't here for the discussion, but you're here for the vote, so
Yeah.
yes.
Yes. Well, he made the motion, I seconded it, so.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
The second thing on the solicitor's report is authorization, a request for authorization to advertise an ordinance. At the last meeting, you adopted a plan document for your pension plan through PMRS. And they sent it back with a few corrections. They were not substantive, it was just, they put things under different categories than Greg and I did, but it's exactly the same plan, there's no changes being made to the plan. But they would like you to adopt the plan document, the plan agreement by ordinance. And it's a very simple ordinance saying we hereby, establish the plan agreement as our pension plan. And that would be advertised for your next meeting. So if that's all right, just a simple motion to authorize advertisement would be sufficient.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
And then, for Don, it says in the Ackerman conservation easement that there's 51 acres that are conserved, there's 4 acres that are not subject to the easement at all. And it says that public access to the property is not generally permitted without the consent of the grantor, the Ackermans, whoever owns it, with the exception of a limited portion of the property identified on the conservation plan map as a corridor adjacent to Butter Creek, designed for the purpose of hiking, recreation, nature study, environmental education, and the like. So, access to the designated area will not be gained through other parts of the property. So there is a public access component to Ackerman along the creek, but the rest of it, you would need permission of the property owner to access the property.
Okay, thank you.
That's all I have for you.
Thank you.
I move for approval of solicitor's report. I hear a second.
Oh, yeah, I'll second it.
Moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Township manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have the treasurer's report for November 30th. The general fund has $496,268.26. Highway aid, $46,489.33. Open space, $1,118,695.25. The park fund, $10,013.09. The equipment fund, $18,521.67. Highway capital, $128.58. Street light, $34,177.44. The reserve funds, general fund reserve, $351,302.08. Open space Manderfield, $50,599. Sewage Maintenance Fund, $175,551.02. Stormwater Fund, $7,263.43. And the escrow funds, $374,740.61. You also have a copy of all the bills.
I'll make a motion to accept the treasurer's report and payment of bills subject to audit.
Okay, I'll second that.
Moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, ayes have it.
The next item is the approval of the 2020 budget. Budget was advertised, was put up on the website. There are some highlights to the budgets, which I went over at last month's meeting. There will be $221,465 for road repair. $120,000 will be taken from the reserves and allocated for the Philadelphia legal expense. $80,000 will be allocated for the demolition of the buildings at the catch basin property. And $63,272 will place the 2000 GMC truck and a new debris blower for the John Deere truck. Board has any questions?
I have none. I think you put together a good budget.
Any other questions?
I have none. I heard a motion to approve the proposed 2020 budget.
Actually, there was a statement made at the beginning of the meeting that the people in the audience wanted to make comments.
You'd probably get a motion in a second on the floor before that.
Okay, you made a motion, okay, I'll second it.
Okay.
Motion made, now
All in
discussion
second, and there's your question, discussion from the floor.
or comment?
Comment.
Just made a comment.
Yes, ma'am.
Regina Schreingmeyer, Stearns Road.
Please
I'm
confirm.
fine here.
No,
I
we
would
need
like
you
to
up
know
here.
how much is being spent on health insurance and who's getting what. Is anybody gonna answer?
I'll answer. I am not on the health insurance plan this year. I've moved off it. My wife and I are getting health insurance through another agency outside of the township. Just so you know, if I had taken it, and I had my daughter on the plan also, I could have spent as much as $62,000 this year for the three of us. But we will not be now, and we will never again be on the plan.
Jay?
I'm on the same insurance that I've been on before.
I'd like to know what percent and what dollar figure
I don't
you're
know.
taking for you and your
I don't
Dr.
know those
Detweiler.
numbers exactly, Greg might, but you have to look them up.
Do you know that, Greg?
I don't know the exact numbers off the top of my head.
So I can get that from you.
You put in a right to know request.
I will do that.
Paul Risner, Lawn Avenue, 1402. Just a comment on the $120,000 going to the lawyers for this gas line. Sit here the last 6 months and through these meetings, everybody's crying, they have no decent water, the septic systems are failing, our roads are failing, and what are we doing? We're trying to protect something that's not even built yet, you know? And we're like the little guy in this thing. You're never gonna get the top, and you can say you can try, but $120,000 is a lot of money to this township. And I'm just exerting my opinion that I think the resources could be used for those poor families that were here in the last two meetings that they have no clean water and all this stuff's going on, and we're paying $120,000 for legal fees.
Thank you for your comment. Yes, Frank.
Frank Shimondera, 1030 Allentown Road. It's disgusting to sit in the back of this room in the year 2019 and hear a supervisor say that we're looking at lowering our contribution to the pool from $13,000 to $10,000. I was on that pool commission, I'm going to say approximately 10 years ago, when Sellersville was willing to raise it from $10,000 to $25,000 a year. We came back to the supervisors at that time, and it was pulling teeth to get $13,000. That pool is not a West Rock Hill pool, it's not a Sellersville pool. I believe when we did surveys, we have 8 or 9 different communities where the people come from. The big change in that pool took place when Percy built Menlo. And they put a demand on there that if you wanted to be part of the Pennridge swim team, you had to belong to Menlo. Now, if I got children that are swimming for Pennridge at Menlo, and I am forced to be a member there, why would I be a member at Holiday? We're trying to get over that. That was done by committees that I was not on. It was a time when we had a bunch of old men on that committee that didn't give any ideas about what that pool means to this community. But to sit here and hear the idea of lowering it from $13,000 to $10,000, if that goes through, we ought to be ashamed. And in closing, Don, I wish you the best of health, you and your wife. And thank you for your service.
Thank you. I might just add to your comment, since 2010, we have put over $200,000 into that pool. Over $200,000. Sellersville has put $200,000. Okay, so that's $400,000, and we've never made a nickel. That pool and that organization needs to get a business manager to understand what's going on. I've looked at the budgets, and I've gone through a lot of budgets in my life, and there are a lot of questions there. But somebody who understands running a business, so we've got to look at what's going on, because what's going on is not right. We have like maybe 50, 60 people from out of our 5,700 members in West Rockhill that participate in that activity, okay? And every year, we put $13,000 in there, and every year, you wind up breaking even or losing a little bit of money. So there's got to be, we got to get over the emotional aspect and look at this as a business. It's either going to function or it's not.
How come Sellersville doesn't seem to have a problem? They look at it in a different vein.
Did you look at the money they take off of it? That West Rockhill does it? The financial management?
What do they take off of it?
The finance, clerical work. Look at the budget. I looked at the budget today.
They back money out of their contribution every year. They charge us.
They do. It shows up as a different cost.
You should look at that.
All I'm suggesting.
My 5 minutes are up?
2 minutes are up.
I would like to make one comment.
This is
though.
not an emotional thing.
No.
This is a fact of life. So we got to figure out some way to make that profitable if it's going to exist. Otherwise, it's absolutely crazy throwing these people's tax money down the drain. Because that's exactly what it is.
Come on.
There's $400,000 in a reserve fund. There's going to be $400,000 in that reserve fund 10 years from now. If we can't take 5% out of that every year and give it to an asset of this community, we stink. And to lower it is worse than that.
I'd like to make a comment. I'd like to make a comment about the $200,000. There were grants involved, there were other things involved. That was not a straight payout by West Rockhill Township of $200,000. And in addition to that, there's a lot more people than what you just mentioned at that pool. You're looking at annual membership. An annual membership is up to 4 or 5 people, not just one person. And you were looking at annual memberships. There's day passes that come in there. Over half the money we bring into that pool is by day passes.
Jim, I wasn't talking about the annual membership. I was talking about information that came out of that organization that roughly 60 people from West Rockhill participated in that activity. Now, if that's not true, then somebody gave me bad information. And I never talked about who was members, who was not members. I'm just saying, and that $200,000, $130,000 of it is the $13,000. Plus, we allowed the organization to sell a piece of property with a house, which brought in $200,000, which Sellersville and West Rockhill agreed to turn that money over to the Holiday House Pool. So where that money went, I don't know. I'm just saying, somebody better take a look at that as a business and operate as a business, and maybe you can survive as a business. But it's not being operated that way now. I'm looking at the numbers, and I see for the last 10 years what's going on. The numbers just continue to down to zero.
You could say the same thing about health insurance. It should be run as a business, and businesses don't provide $35,000, $40,000, $45,000 for health insurance for their employees.
I'm sorry, they do.
No, they don't.
Part-time employees.
No,
Businesses do.
no.
Yeah, but you're not considered employed.
They're not employees.
Sorry.
Okay,
You had a motion and you had a second
Budget.
on the budget.
okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Yes, aye.
The last thing that I have is authorization for Steve Balla to make up bids and then advertise them for the demolition of the buildings at the catch basin.
Yes, I will make a motion that we authorize him to do that.
And I'll second.
It's been moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it.
Thank you, that's all I have.
Make a motion, we accept the township manager's report.
I'll second it.
Moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All business. Approval of new microphone for boardroom.
This is my item too. We get a lot of concerns and complaints from the people in the back few rows that they can't hear what's going on. I've heard it from many folks actually, and one of the reasons is the way some of these microphones are placed. I've been working with Galco Communications, who handles all of our communications in the building, and we came up with a solution to put a microphone on the new podium, the new lectern, and remove the one from the ceiling, which should help anyone standing over there be able to be heard by everyone in the area, and then to move the microphone over Steve out here so it's actually directing down to Steve so people can hear him better. And I think that was going to take care of the situations that we've been getting with people being able to hear what's going on. So Galco has sent us a price of $695 to complete all the work. We could do that before the next meeting if I can put that up for a vote to the board. So I open it up to you two.
I'm not going to support it. I think that this microphone and that microphone are working fine.
When people come in here,
If they come up and stand underneath there and speak, you can hear them in the back.
No, you can't.
How do you know? You haven't been back here.
I have been back there in meetings.
Oh, no, you haven't.
Okay. I gave you my position.
Okay.
well, the issue is, this has been moving along, and we've never had any discussion with the board on this.
I've brought this
Okay,
up
this is
several
a-
times.
This is the first discussion, is public, it is a public discussion. So,
Okay. We'll discuss
I
it,
don't-
Jen.
I don't think it's a necessary investment.
Okay.
I mean, those people come up here, I don't think there's anybody here who couldn't hear what they said.
It's called transparency.
I will, I'll table this for now.
Okay. So document that has been tabled for now. Okay, any new business?
I have none.
Oh, I have none.
Okay. Public comment. Yes, sir.
Don White, Allentown Road. I'd just like to say thanks for the signs on Allentown Road. I guess we're moving towards restricting trucks on Allentown Road, the large semis. I know we have one sign up above Trimbardsville. I don't know whether there's one down on the lower end or not. That one's not there yet?
It's there.
It's there? Okay, so that's the right direction, and I'm assuming that somehow we can get the GPS people to not send trucks there anymore. Once they realize that the trucks can't be there anymore, once it doesn't appear on the GPS, those guys won't use those roads anymore.
Right.
So, that's a, you know, thanks. I'm glad you guys followed through on that. I think it took a while,
Still
but
under
we got it
pressure.
done.
It's not done yet, but it's still under pressure to get it done.
Yeah, the signs are there, so
From here to Penn.
it's not gonna, I think we all know it's not gonna happen instantly, but, it's just unsafe. I mean, they can't drive on that road safely, so we need to get them off of there. The other thing I'd like to ask about is the barn across the street. I'm really glad that the decision had been made to, you know, save the barn and take care of it. I have one request, that we kill the vines that are growing on the barn. That's an old stone building, and stone buildings do not like vines. Vines dig into the mortar and it destroys your building. So all that really needs to happen at this point right now is somebody needs to go there and cut the vines off the base. And they'll die, and eventually they'll come down, but you're asking for trouble if you leave those vines growing on that building. All right?
Okay,
If I
thank
can
you,
get that
Doug.
done right, if you want me, I'll go over and cut them.
Appreciate that.
All right. So the other thing I have is, and I've brought this up before, I'm not winning this argument for some reason. You have signs in the Manderfield property on the trees, and whoever installed those signs has twice now screwed the signs all the way into the tree. So the screw is cinched up all the way to the tree. The signs are only gonna last a couple of years that way, because the tree's gonna grow and it's gonna pop the sign right off of there. I don't really agree with putting nails or long screws in those trees anyway. It's a valuable resource, but the way you're doing it's really, you're kind of wasting money, because the signs are just gonna pop off. They popped off the last time in a couple of years, and they're gonna pop off again this time. So if whoever controls that township manager, if you can tell the guys next time not to screw them in all the way. If you just use a 10-penny nail and just leave it sticking out an inch, the sign's gonna stay there, and the tree won't push it off. All right, that's all.
Thanks for that input. Yes, sir.
Robert Curling, 1307 Ridge Road. I was wondering if there's anything being done about the quarry. My well has gone dry twice in the past 2 months. My original pump was down at 130 feet, and I've lived there for 40 years. I had horses, goats, everything else. Kids, never had an issue with water. And on October 25th, I thought my pump had gone, pulled it out, and there was no water. So I dropped it down another 20 feet, so now I'm 7 feet from the bottom, and I'm running out of water again. And it's got to be the quarry. I heard the quarry over the summer was flooded, and they've been pumping it out. I think I talked to you on election day about it. I've had water. It's been losing, by my estimates, 3 feet a week. So now I'm down at 150 feet, and I can't run my washing machine. Have to take sponge baths. It really sucks,
If you give me your contact information, I will give it to H&K, and they'll get in contact with you.
Okay, I did give them.
Can you repeat? I'm sorry for interrupting. Can you repeat your address again, sir?
1307 Ridge Road.
You couldn't hear it.
You couldn't hear it.
I'm like a half a mile or so from the quarry, right down here by Lonely Road.
Thank you.
Just speak to me after the
drill you
meeting.
a well.
Okay.
Yep.
Yes, they will.
There's money in the escrow.
Yeah.
Any other comments? Seeing none, I will,
What's that?
seeing none, I will call for,
I'll make a motion.
voting for adjournment.
I'll second.
Moved and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Happy New Year, everyone, and a Merry
Merry
Christmas.
Christmas.
Thank you.